I love so many things about it. The space has a really great energy. I love the way my house feels. I love that I know where all of the studs are. I love that I know the different images that I see, like there's a couple of boards in the small loft. The knots look like they form the face of a heron, which I just absolutely love. I owned two of my previous owned homes. I had mortgages, one in Winnipeg and one in Charlottetown. And I got overwhelmed with things and I couldn't sort of finish projects and do things. I also felt like I had to work. I always had to work. And now I'm able to work, but I work only 28, 30 hours a week. I don't have to work full time. I feel freer to work fewer hours. Odd to say, tiny house has allowed me more space. It has allowed me more breath. It's allowed me a little more ease. Because my house is on wheels, it did not need a building permit because it's a movable structure and not a permanent structure. And because it's built on a trailer base, it is also falls outside of zoning regulations. We really expected that there might be some blowback, not from the immediate neighbors. I'm fortunate enough in this location, the property I'm on, the owners of this house have been here for more than 40 years and have really good relationships with the neighbors and inside the community. Every weekend, for a year, that was my life, was building my house. Materials cost somewhere around $26,000 to $30,000, and I spent $10,000 on labor. I tried to write really regularly and faithfully while I was building my tiny house, so just about for every week of build or every other week, there is a blog post about what we did in that particular step, and really tried to build my blog to face the challenges of this particular climate, because I hadn't found one while I was doing my research that answered some of the questions that I wish I had answered. And I started living in it at the beginning of May 2014. And then I wintered through the winter of 2014-2015, which in Quebec was really, really, really cold. And everybody asks how the winter was, and it was fine. I had been concerned about ventilation because I have spray foam insulation.
Okay.
So there's R25 in the walls, there's spray foam insulation inside the studs, and then outside the studs I have an extra inch of insulation to give me about R25, and then my ceiling is at least R30 because there's 2 inches on the outside there. So that allows my house to be very well insulated, but because it's spray foam, it's also almost a perfect seal. And when you have a house, houses need to breathe. In this climate, in the winter, condensation is a real issue, and that's not healthy for a home. So finding a solution for that became really important. I found a system called the Lunos E2 system, which has 2 fans. One is in the living room, the other one's in the bathroom. They work as a pair. One pulls air out while the other one draws air in. And each of them has a ceramic grill in it that holds on to the heat. And this is a European design. It's used in Northern Europe, so I figured chances are it'll handle here. I keep my house warm using a couple of different ways. I have in-floor heating throughout my floor, and so those were electric mats, wired mats that were put in underneath the tile, and that system draws 10 amps out of my 50 amp panel. And then I also have a propane Dickinson marine heater that I use. I get my power from the house of the property I am living on. I am connected with a 50 amp extension, very expensive extension cord. I have a potable water hose that goes from that same house, the property I'm on, and that runs into the house. In the winter, due to temperature, I hand bomb my water in. So I bring in 6 gallons at a time. I have a 6-gallon water bin that I bring and pour into the little water inlet that I have on my countertop. My gray water is recycled through a bin, so the water flows directly out of my system, and I'm very careful about what I put into the water, and then it goes through a bin which has a layer of gravel, pea gravel, sand, charcoal, and earth so that it gets filtered, so that before it goes back into the ground, most of what might be harmful has been removed. There's a whole bunch of different reasons why people are drawn to tiny houses and any alternative living solution, really. And for me, it resonated so strongly with me that it just seemed like it's right for me. And it's right for me for now, for the foreseeable future. I've built it so that if I have a child, I have a space for my child to live in, and I can still have the privacy for myself and my spouse and my child, or my partner and my child. And we can all coexist in a small space, which for a lot of people is very frightening. Having a smaller space is more sustainable in terms of, not only in terms of the energy it requires, or in terms of the cost of building it, but also for me in terms of cleaning it, in terms of furnishing it, or any of that. It just makes, for me, a lot more sense. There hasn't been that many challenges living in it that I didn't anticipate. Some of the chores that I thought were going to be really onerous aren't so bad. Yeah. I've lived in my house for 1.5 years. For me, a big part of the appeal was building a house that I could move with, because I've moved so much. So it was really important that my house be on wheels. If my life takes me and needs for me to move 1,000 miles again, I can now take my home with me instead of having to sell my home and move all my belongings. We can all go together. And I built this house to be mine for the rest of my life.